Okay. So it's start off with section A. Okay, the first question is talking about simplifying 7c minus 2c plus 9 minus 4 plus c. This one is an algebra question. So what we're gonna do is, okay, we're gonna highlight on which one to start off with first. Whatever we can simplify, we're gonna simplify it. So 7c minus 2c is something that we can simplify, and also 9 minus 4 over here also. Right, so 7c minus 2c will give you 5c, and then 9 minus 4 will give you a plus 5 plus c. Right, so if you continue to simplify, 5c plus c will give you a 6c plus 5. Okay, so the answer is 6c plus 5, number 1. Okay, let's go through question number 2. Question number 2, AB is perpendicular to BC. So they want you to find angle M over here. Angle M is over here. So you can see that this angle at the center, the key information is AB is perpendicular to BC. So over here, you need to draw a 90 degree, right? And so you should know that all the angles, all the 4 angles over here will add up to become 360, which means that M will be equal to 360 minus away the 98, minus away the 90, and minus away the 43. Okay, if you use your calculator and okay, of course you cannot use a calculator, but you should not have any problems subtracting this using your normal working. So this will give you 129, which is number 2. Okay, let's go on to question number 3. Okay, question number 3, Charmaine uses syrup and water in the ratio of 3:5 to make lemon juice. Okay, so she uses 330 ml of syrup. Okay, how much water does she use? So let's write down the ratio over here. S is to W. Right, it's 3:5, and we know that 330 ml of syrup is used, which means that 3 units is equal to 330 ml. Okay, which means that 1 unit will be equal to 110 ml, and they're asking for how much water, which is 5 units. Okay, 5 units will be 550 ml. So the answer is number 4. Let's go on to question number 4. Question number 4 is gonna be a bit more tricky. Okay, so notice beside the question there is a small star with a small number inside. Basically for all the questions, what I do is I rank them according to the difficulty level from 1 to 5. So 1 is easy question and 5 is a difficult question. So this one is number 2 question is a bit tricky, but as long as you know how to do your order of operation properly, you shouldn't have any problems. 8 times 10 minus 8 times 7, so which means that 8 times 10 will give you 80. Okay, minus 56, it's gonna be equal to something multiplied by 8 plus 8. Okay, so this will give you 24. It's equals to something multiplied by 8 plus 8. So we know that we're supposed to do the multiplication first, right? Okay, which means that if we remove away the 8, it's gonna give us 16 is equals to what? Times 8. So obviously by now you should know the answer is 2. Okay, number 2. Okay, let's go to question number 5. Question number 5, Teddy had $180. He spent 3/5 of his money, okay, on a pair of shoes and 3/4 of the remainder to buy a t-shirt. So how much did he spend on the t-shirt? So this is a fraction type of question, and a lot of students have problems with fraction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by a faster way first. If he spent 3/5 of his money, which means that he's left with 2/5, right? If I want to find what is 2/5 of 180, right, I'll just multiply it. So the first thing I do is I'll try to reduce it. Divided by 5 will give you a 1, divided by 5 will give me a 36, right? 36. So 36 multiplied by 2 will give me 72. Okay, and then he spent 3/4 of the remainder to buy the t-shirt. Then how much did he spend on the t-shirt itself? So we're gonna find what is 3/4 of $72. Okay, so same thing. The first thing we gotta do is we try to reduce it. Divided by 4, divided by 4 will give you a 18. Okay, and then 18 times 3, if you do your working, it's gonna give you a 54. Okay, I'm gonna try and do it by the model drawing way. Okay, so some students which are not very good in their fraction, they can try and do it in the model drawing way. So if you're gonna draw a model, okay, let me do this because it's not where I want it to be. Shapes, this one, okay, this is the other method. So I'm gonna draw over here, and I'm gonna cut it into 5 parts. So over here, one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and 3/5 of his money on a pair of. Okay, wait, let me label the $180 first. Okay, he spent 3/5 of his money on a pair of shoes, so here to here will be basically the shoe. Okay, and then the remainder is over here. Usually I will draw a separate block below representing the remainder, and I'll need to cut into 4 parts, right? So 3/4 of the remainder to buy t-shirt. So here to here is basically the t-shirt. Okay, so if you were to do your 5 unit is equal to 180, and find that 1 unit is basically equals to 36, and then you should be able to find what is 3 units, which will be oh, okay, you shouldn't be finding 3 units, you should be finding 2 units, because if I want to find what is the remainder, right, which is 72, and which means that over here will be 72. Here to here, let me use a separate color. From here to here is 72, right? Then from here you can use 7 units. 4 units equals to 72. Find out what is 1 unit, which is 18, and from there find out what is 3 unit, which is 54. Okay, so the model drawing method also works, but of course once you have a good understanding of the model drawing way, you should upgrade your method into the fraction way. Let's go into question number 6. Look for my pen. Okay, question number 6. 2/5 of the mass of watermelon is equal to 3/4 of the mass of a durian. What is the ratio of the mass of watermelon to the mass of the durian? Okay, so there is a shortcut method to this kind of sentence where it says that a fraction of something is equal to a fraction of another thing. What you do is just write down the fraction of watermelon is 2/5, right? And then the durian is 3/4. Okay, we want to make the numerator the same. So in this case, I'm gonna multiply by 3, multiply by 3. Gonna multiply by 2, multiply by 2, which is gonna give me a 6/15 and a 6/8. Okay, so what happened is the denominator it's gonna tell you that watermelon will have 15 units and durian will have 8 units. So they're asking for the ratio of the mass of watermelon to the mass of durian, which will be 15:8, which is number 3. Okay, so if you want to understand how this works, you have to go into the model drawing method. So I will try to explain using the model drawing way. So what you're gonna do is, okay, 2/5 of the mass of a watermelon. So I'm gonna draw a 2 unit over here. Okay, is equal to 3/4 of the mass of a durian. So I'm gonna draw another block over here. Okay, and I'm gonna cut it into 3 parts. This is the durian. Okay, so I'm gonna fill up the rest of the unit. This one should durian. Press the undo button. 2 and 3. And then this one I need to draw one more, right? So you can see that the blocks are not the same. So in order to make them the same, you have to cut it into 3 parts. Okay, and for the bottom, you have to cut into 2 parts each. Okay, so if you make a count, this will be 5 times 3, which is basically 15 unit, and this is 4 times 2, which is 8 unit. Okay, which works in the same way as this method over here, but this method is a lot faster. Let's go to question 7. Okay, Mrs. Williams bought some flowers for a company event, so 45% of the flowers are roses and 15% of the flowers are lily, and the remaining flowers are sunflowers. So given that she bought 300 stalks of flowers in total, so how many stalks of sunflower did she buy? So in this case, you need to know that, okay, 45% total will be 100%, right? Okay, if you subtract away the 45%, which is roses, and you subtract away the 15%, which is flowers, which is a lily, you are gonna get a 40%, which is the sunflower. Okay, so to find 40% of the total flowers, you use 40 over 100. Multiply by 300, so we do the reduction, cancel away the 20. Okay, 40 times 3 will give you 120. Answer is number 2. Let's go on to the next section, section B. Okay, so this question is asking you to find the value of 4r minus r plus 3 over 2 plus 10 when r is equals to 5, right? So in this case, we're gonna replace the r over here with a 5. Okay, so this will become a 4 times 5 minus away 5 plus 8 over 2 plus 10. Right, so we're gonna simplify 4 times 5, which will give you a 20 minus 5 you see okay, 5 plus 8 will give you a 13, right? 13 over 2 plus 10. Okay, 13 over 2, if you do your working, is gonna be 6.5, and you're gonna plus 10. Okay, at this stage, you're left with okay, I think I made a mistake over here. It is not an 8. Okay, this is a 3, which will give you an 8 over 2, which will give you a 4. At this point, you got to do from left to right, right? 18 minus 4 will give you 16. 16 plus 10 will give you 26. Okay, let's go to question 9. ABCD is a parallelogram, so ABCD is a parallelogram. AC is a straight line. Angle ADC is 70, and angle ACB is 58. Okay, they want you to find the angle of Y. So since this is a parallelogram, you should know that all the sides are parallel. Okay, and the opposite angles are the same, which makes this a 70. Okay, so which means that this is an angle in a triangle, which will add up to become 180. So what you can do is you can first do 70 plus 58. Okay, which will give you 128. And then 180 minus 128 will give you 52. Okay, so this will give you 52 degree. Move on to question 10. Okay, question 10 is 4/11 divided by 10. They want you to leave your answer in the simplest form. So most of the P6 should have learned how to do fraction division. In this case, I'm going to do the working over here. 4/11, right, divided by 10/1. So you're going to flip the 10/1 over, and it becomes a multiply 1/10. Okay, remember to always do your reducing. Divided by 2, divided by 2. Back to the blue. So the numerator will be 2 times 1, which will give you a 2. Denominator will be times 11 times 5, which will give you 55. Okay, so if you do your reducing properly, it will be in its simplest form. Let's go to question 11. Question 11 is an order of operation type of question. So what you got to do is you have to know which one to do first. You got to do the bracket first, right? So we're going to do the bracket first, which will give me 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, plus 15 minus 9. Right, over here I must do the division. 96 divided by 6. You can do your working by the side, which will give you a 12 plus 15 minus 9. And when you're left with plus and minus, you're supposed to do from left to right. Okay, 12 plus 15 will give you 27 minus 9, which will give you a 18. Okay, let's move on to question 12. Figure below shows a rectangle ABCD and a shaded triangle EBD. So they give you that AE is 5, and they want you to find the area of the triangle. So the most straightforward way is basically to find the base and the height of the triangle. So you need to know how to see where is the base. Basically, here is the base. Okay, I want the red pen, but no idea why it doesn't give me the red pen. Okay, so this is the base, which is equal to 3, because BC is 8, so AD will be also 8, so 8 minus 5 will give you 3. And the height is a 12, right? So what you do is you can do half times base times height. Half times 3 times 12. Okay, hold on, let me check on some stuff. It's not allowing me to change the color. Okay, it doesn't matter, then I'll have to work with blue color all the way. I have no idea why it doesn't allow me to change the color. Do your reducing, divided by 2, divided by 2. Okay, so it's basically 18, 3 times 6. So in this case, it will be 18 cm square. Let's go to the next section, question 13. Okay, in this figure, RSQ is an equilateral triangle. So RSQ, SQ, U is a straight line. They want you to find angle T over here. So if this is an equilateral triangle, you should know that this is all 60, this is 60, and this is 60. But this is not important because what we want is this is 120. And you should know that this is an isosceles triangle over here, right? Which means that these two angles will add up to become 60, which will give you a 30, and T will be equal to 30. Okay, let's go to question 14. Question 14 is still relatively easy because the difficulty level is still a 2. I'll try and change. Oh, okay, now I can change. Okay, bag A has a mass of 2/5 kg, so take note this is 2/5 kg with the unit, right? The mass of bag B is 4 times the mass of bag A. Then what's the mass of bag B? Express your answer as a mixed number, so this is pretty straightforward. You just use 2/5 times 4. There's no reducing to be done, so 4 times 2 will give you a 8/5. Change it to mixed number will give you a 1 and 3/5. Okay, question 15. Let me get my pen first. Okay, the ratio of Arjun's age to Brandon's age is 5:4. The ratio of Brandon's age to Kelvin's age is 6:7. They want you to find the ratio of Arjun's age to Brandon's age to Kelvin's age in its simplest form. So let us write down the ratio of A is to B first. A is to B. Okay, 5:4. Now the ratio of B is to C, okay, is 6:7. So you notice that there are two subjects which are the same, which is B, right? But the ratio is different. So what you need to do is you need to change them to become the same. Lowest common multiple will be 12, which means that I need to multiply by 3 to this whole ratio, and I need to multiply by 2 to this whole ratio. Okay, once I multiply, I'm gonna get a 15:12 and a 12:14, which means that A is to B is to C is 15:12:14. Okay, 15:12:14. Let's go into question 16. Okay, the usual price of a camera is $400. Lauren bought the camera during a sale at a discount of 20% on the usual price. So how much did Lauren pay for the camera? So this question is also quite straightforward. If there is a discount of 20%, it means that you're paying for 80% of the usual price, right? So I'm gonna go to my blue pen. I'm gonna find what is 80% of. Remember, when you use of, is always multiply of the $400, the usual price, right? So same thing if you are doing a reducing, cancel 20. Okay, nope, cancel 20, and then 80 times 4 will give you 320. Okay, quite a straightforward question. Let's move on to question 17. Okay, question 17 is a algebra question. Dental clinic had 2B patients on Tuesday. There were 3B plus 14 patients on Friday. Altogether, there were 109 patients on 2 days. They want you to find the value of B. Okay, so this is not an easy question because a lot of students don't know how to do this in terms of model drawing. So I'm gonna write down the info first. Okay. Sorry, it's not Tuesday, it's Thursday. Thursday is 2B, and on Friday, okay, it's a 3B plus 14, right? You know that altogether it is 109. Okay. So for it doesn't allow me to change again. Okay, doesn't matter. So what you're gonna do is you can draw the model. Gonna insert 2b. You can let b to be equal to 1 unit, right? So I'm gonna draw a bit over here. This is gonna be 2b, and I'm gonna draw another one which is over here, which is gonna be this is supposed to be 3b. Okay, so this I will cut into half. This I will cut into 3 parts. Okay, know that this is a b. So this is Thursday and this is Friday, right? So Friday there's another 14, so I'm gonna draw a longer block and make it 14, and this will be 109, right? So you know that the first thing you need to do is to remove the extra 14. Okay, so what you gotta do is 109 minus 14, so it will give you a 95, right? And then 95 is basically equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, or 5b. So 95, so which means that b will be equal to 19. Okay, so that's the value of b. Let's move on to section C, problem sums. Can I change the color already? Nope. Okay. It doesn't matter. Let's go into the question. Adam, Ben, and Carlos shared some marbles, so Adam received 1/5 of the marbles. Ben received 18 more marbles than Adam, and Carlos received 54 marbles. So how many marbles did they have altogether? So in this case, I would draw a model. Draw a bigger one, and then I'm gonna cut it into 5 parts, right? I can't erase this. I can undo everything. Cut it up again. Okay, so okay, fine. Adam received a 1/5, which means that this is gonna be A. Okay, Ben received 18 marbles more than Adam, which means that Ben would probably be I do not know how big or small is 18. Okay, so this part will be my supposedly 18. And then Carlos will receive the rest, which is 54. So which means that you know that here to here is the 54 marbles, right? So how many marbles did they have altogether? You know that from here, right? 3 units, so basically 3 units is equal to 54 plus 18, which is equal to 72, which means that 1 unit will be equal to 24. How many marbles do they have altogether? So they have altogether 5 units, which is 24 times 5, 120. Okay, this would be your answer. Let's go to question 19. Okay, Mr. Ong spent $75.45 on 3 kg of prawns and 1 box of frozen scallops for his barbecue. So the prawns were sold at $1.45 for every 100 gram. How much did the box of frozen scallops cost? Okay, let's write down the info first. So basically, $75.45 is equals to 3 kg of prawn and box of frozen scallops, right? Okay, we know that from over here. Okay, every 100 gram costs $1.45, right? Which means that you know that 1 kg is 1000 gram. It will be $14.50, and it means that 3 kg will be equal to 14.5 times 3. Okay, $43.50, which means that this whole thing is the right $43.50, right? Which means that the box of how much did the box of frozen scallop cost, right? Which means that it's gonna be equal to $75.45. Subtract away the $43.50. $75.45, $31.95. Okay, this is the answer for question 19. Go on to question 20. My pen, let me get my pen. Use the blue one. Okay, so a rectangular tank measuring 30 cm by 10 cm by 10 cm is completely filled with water. The water is then poured into some rectangular containers to the brim without spilling. Each container measures 10 cm by 8 cm by 5 cm. They want you to find what's the greatest number of containers that can be filled completely by water. Okay, so the first thing you want to find is the volume of water. It's basically length times breadth times height, which will give you 3000 cubic cm. Okay, and then we want to find what's the volume of one of this container, right? One of this container is 10 times 8 times 5, which will give you 400 cubic cm, right? So the next step would be to use 3000 divided by 400. If you use a calculator, 3000 divided by 400 is gonna give you 7.5, which means that the greatest number of container that you can completely fill will be 7. Okay. Let's continue with question 21. Roy used a quarter of his money on 3 pen and 6 notebook. The cost of each pen is 3 times the cost of each notebook. He bought some more pens with 2/3 of his remaining money. So how many pens did Roy buy altogether? Okay, so this question is difficulty level is 4, so it's gonna be a bit more difficult than the others. I'm going to draw a model for this one. Let me draw it over here. Okay, I need to cut into 4 parts. Razor working, yep. Okay, so this amount of money over here, 1/4, okay, is basically 3 pen plus 6 notebook. Right, over here it tells us something that's very important. Okay, the pen is 3 times the cost of each notebook, which means that you're gonna let the pen be equal to 3 units and the notebook be equal to 1 unit. The cost of each pen is 3 times the cost of each notebook. Okay, so we're gonna convert this 3 pen plus 6 notebook into units, which means that if 3 pen is equals to 3 units, that means, sorry, 3 pen. If a pen is equals to 3 units, that means 3 pen will be equal to 9 units, right? Okay, so which means that this whole thing is equals to 9 plus 6, which is 15 units. Okay, so the next thing that he did was he bought some more pen with 2/3 of his remaining money. So remaining money will be over here. Okay, if you can see that 2/3 is just nice because this is already in 3 blocks, so I'm not gonna draw another block over here. 2/3 of his money, okay, to buy a pen. So how many pens did Roy buy altogether? So by now you should know that this is 15 units, right? Okay, which means that oh, okay, wait. Thing is wrong. Okay, this is 15 units, so this is 15 units, this is 15 units. Okay, so we want to find out like that 30 units over here is equals to how many pen? Okay, 30 unit divided by 3, because each pen is 3 unit, will be equal to 10, right? Okay, so if you add on with the original 3 pen, how many pens did Roy buy altogether? Which will be 13 pen. Okay, this is the answer for question 21. Let's move on to question 22. Okay, there was 2/5 as many muffins as cupcakes in the shop. After selling an equal number of muffins and cupcakes, the ratio of the number of muffins to the number of cupcakes left was 1:7. There was a total of 112 muffins and cupcakes in the shop at first. So they want you to find how many muffins were there at first and how many muffins and cupcakes were sold altogether. So this is a constant difference type of question where the difference between the muffin and the cupcakes before and after are basically the same. So I'm going to write down I'm going to use ratio. Okay, at first a muffin is to cupcake is 2:5, right? So the difference between them is 3 units. Okay, and then after that muffin is to cupcake, it becomes 1:7. The difference between them is 6 units. Okay, so we got to make the units, the difference the same. We're gonna multiply by 2 to everything over here, which means that this ratio will become 4:10. Okay, so you realize that the muffins decrease from 4 units to 1 unit, and the cupcakes decrease from 10 units to 3 units, and each one of them decreased by 3 units, which means that they sold an equal amount of muffins and cupcakes, right? So let's find the number. Okay, there's a total of 112 muffins and cupcakes in the shop at first, which means that at first is 14 units. I'm gonna use 14 units is equals to 112, and I'm gonna find what is 1 unit. And okay, the muffins at first is 4 units, so 4 units is basically equals to 32. This is for part A. Part B, they're asking for how many muffins and cupcakes were sold all together. So we know that 3 units were sold, right? For each, so total sold will be 6 units. So we know that 6 units is equals to 6 times 8, which is equal to 48. This is the answer for part B. Move on to the next question, question 23. Okay, Ruben has a piece of paper, ABCD. Okay, that is in the shape of a trapezium with AD equals to BC. And angle BAD is equals to 113 degree. He folded it along the line BE as shown below. And then they want you to find the angle of F and G. Okay, so I'm gonna write in this is 113 the BAD. So this is a trapezium, and the most important info is basically this one. Okay, AD is equals to BC. If they are equal to each other, basically it means that these two angles are the same. Okay, and then this angle over here, if you realize, is basically angle F. This is 113, which means that this angle over here, a trapezium, these two sides are parallel. Okay, so these two angles between two parallel lines will add up to become 180, which means that if you use 180 minus 113, 67, right? We know that this is 67, which means that F is equals to 67. Okay, this is the answer for part A. Okay, so looking at part B, they want you to find angle G over here, and then since it is folded along the line BE, we know that this is also angle G. Okay, and we know that this 3 will add up to become 113 because of the same property. Okay, so if this is 113, over here is also 113, which means that for part B, first you got to do 113 minus 35 is gonna give me 78, and then after that you use 78 divided by 2, 39 degree. Okay, so this is the answer for part B. Let's move on to question 24. Okay, question 24, let's go through the question. Melissa and Nurul had a total of 106 bits. Okay, there's an error in this paper, so if you download the original copy, you gotta change this. If not, you cannot get the answer. Melissa used 3 times as many beads as Nurul to make some bracelets, and the number of beads Nurul had left was 12 more than what she had used. She had twice as many beads left as compared to Melissa. So part A, they want you to find how many beads did Nurul use, and part B, they want you to find how many beads did Melissa have at first. Okay, we're gonna use model drawing for these questions. So the first thing that I'm gonna draw is Melissa used 3 times as many bits as Nurul. So I'm gonna draw Melissa, which is 3 times over here, and I'm gonna draw another 1 block over here. Okay, draw, and this will be Melissa, this would be Nurul. Okay. The blue color represents the number of bits that they used. Okay, 3 times as many bits as Nurul. So I'm gonna move on to the next part of the question. The number of bits Nurul had left was 12 more than what she had used. Okay, so this is what she had used, and the number of bits that she had left was 12 more than what she had used. So which means that I'm gonna draw a box over here. Draw what I want. Gotta be a bit closer. Yeah, okay. 1 unit N. Okay, 12 more, which means that I need to draw another 12, and I do not know how big or small is the 12. I'm gonna draw a like rough size over here. not straight. Okay, this is the 12. Okay, so the number of bits Nurul had left was 12 more than what she had used. Okay, and then she had twice as many bits. She had twice as many bits left as compared to Melissa, which means that this will be twice of Melissa, right? So this is 1 unit plus 12, which means that half of this will be basically equal to half a unit plus 6, right? So I'm gonna draw half a block here and try to squeeze in a half a unit over here, and I'm gonna draw another block here. I'm not gonna draw very skinny. It's gonna be a 6. Okay, so altogether they'll have 106 bits. Now for part A, they want you to find how many bits did Nurul use, which means that they want you to find here. Okay, that's for part A. So what you're gonna do is, the first step you're gonna do is 106 minus away the extra, which is minus 6 minus 12, which will give you 88, right? And then over here the total number of units will be, all this will be 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, and 1 unit. Altogether that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 unit, right? So 5.5 unit is equals to 88, which means that 1 unit will be equal to 88 divided by 5.5. It's gonna be 16. So that will be the answer for part A, 1 unit. And for part B, they're asking for how many bits did Melissa have at first. At first would be everything over here, right? Okay, so this is a 1 to 3.5 unit plus another 6. Okay, so we're gonna find what is 3.5 unit will be equal to 16 times 3.5. Okay, 56, and I'm gonna add another 6 to it, so 56 plus 6 will give you 62. Okay, so this would be the answer for part B.